Hey YouTube, JGreen302. I have a bit of a cold, so you'll have to excuse me. Did I mention stock up on cold medications in your medical equipment? Yeah, that might be a real good idea. I have been able to do so little and have felt so bad. And the whole time I'm just sitting there thinking, man, I don't have enough cold medication just for another cold. Never mind for 6 months or 3 or 4 colds. Just thought I'd mention that. Okay, so we'll call this I Told You So follow-up. Remember this? Took it apart. It's a spring, it's a base pad, and it's a plastic guide. That's it. I couldn't find anything wrong. It was completely clean. I wiped it down anyway. My thinking right now is either some packing material or some debris might have gotten bound up with the plastic follower in there, and that was causing the binding. But I can no longer reproduce the problem. So now you can see there's a mark. Now it's testing time. It's got to once again prove that it's reliable. It has to prove it to me. I'm not going to assume ever that something is reliable, but we are now to the point where we're going to try and see if this bad boy will deliver the goods. And it'll take a month before I can follow up on that, but I did address this. Now, let's do the follow-up on the part 2, which makes me very pleased. I love that sound. See the door? See that screw hole right there? That screw had backed out. And as it backed out, the weight of this door pulling inward kept the screw in. As this door came inward, it got into the action. All I had to do was tighten the screw. My gun failed me because it had a loose screw. So my gear's fixed. Now we have to test all over again. Couple of thoughts. Due diligence. I took that gun apart when I got it, but I did not take that screw out or one other piece. I took it down enough to get the internals cleaned out, to investigate the barrel, to check everything out that I could check. I had cycled everything. I had ran ammo through it, cycled it out, kicked it out. Everything was working as best as I could test it. One loose screw. I imagine that somebody got pretty frustrated with that gun, brought it in, and everybody did the same thing that I did. They missed it on the first pass. And so the gun sold for really cheap until I figured out what the problem was. It's amazing how one little screw can cause so much problems, but there you go. It was a used gun, and that's why I test. If it's a new gun, I test. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes due diligence to go and use your equipment and make it prove to you you can count on it. I just wanted to give you the follow-up on how simple the problem was that literally locked the gun in the open position. How little the problems are that can stop these mechanical items. Anywhere you have a moving part, you have the potential for a failure. The more moving parts you have, the greater the chance. There's a lot of forces involved. with these firearms. So use my examples. I preached it, and then my stuff failed. I showed you it failed, and then I showed you what the problems were. I've taken you through the full cycle. This is the point that I was trying to drive home, and it's kind of ironic that things broke on me, that I could be able to say, see, there you go. As anal as I am about everything, it still happens. So for those of you that aren't being anal, imagine how problematic it can be if it fails on you when you absolutely need it. You can't be anal enough, not when it comes to your last-ditch protection. I'll leave it at that. I think I've made my point here, so I'll wrap it up and say thanks for watching. Appreciate it, everybody.